What is up, bros? Me, Josh here, and in this video we're going over the HMS Hood, the Tier 7 Premium Royal Navy battleship. Now this is the first Tier 7 Premium battleship for the Royal Navy line, so that's pretty cool, along with the Tier 6 Warspite, and it's very similar to that ship if you've ever played it. So the HMS Hood is still work in progress, so all these stats are subject to change, so let's dive right into it and go over the good and bad of this ship. Now one of the massive things you can see in this ship is it has a giant health pool of almost 68,000, the most out of any Tier 7 battleship, so 67,700 life, and it has actually a pretty decent armor layout. One downside about this ship is the force end, or the front end, I just said force, the fore end plating is very minimal as long as the end. So you're going to basically be overmatched by almost every battleship here, as long as HE shells from anything with, I think, above 155 millimeters. So if this thing's tanky in front on, just be sure to hit here and you're going to do all kinds of pen damage. It has some interesting layouts on the armor right here, and it is actually pretty armored throughout, though. I think the Citadel, I wasn't getting absolutely smashed with this thing, and it was pretty freaking tanky. It really, really was. So if you do see this thing, the nose is where to punch, so be sure to do that and kind of beat up on some hoods. So also with that, it had a pretty lackluster torpedo. I was kind of surprised to see that it would take that much damage. I mean, as you can see here, it's a pretty big muffin top, and I was only 16% compared to, let's say, the Colorado with 39%. That's almost 3 times. So I was interested. I was surprised to see it have such a low torpedo protection, but it is what it is. So for the guns, this is one of the main things that's been getting some love and hate. It has basic. It's Warspite guns. This is what it's going to be running. It's big 4x2s, 381 millimeters. So these are big guns. They hit very, very hard when you can finally get your guns on target, and that's the downside. It has the slowest turret rotation of any Tier 7 battleship by a long shot, and this made the playstyle, in my opinion, for the Hood relatively boring. This is one of the two things. Very, very slow turret rotation. Now, the Colorado is the next slowest with 45 seconds on its turret rotation. That's 15 seconds slower. It was absolutely brutal. But once you did get your turrets on target, you would absolutely smash them. And then Citadels everywhere, basically. This thing would hit very, very hard. It had a mediocre reload of 30 seconds, so that's all right for this tier. And they were pretty accurate. This ship gave me pretty dang good dispersion, some of the best dispersion at Tier 7. Another one on the downside is the main batter firing range. It has the shortest firing range of any Tier 7 battleship. So not only does it have the slowest turrets, it can't shoot as far as anything else. So two major downsides of this. The secondary armament, even with AFT, was alright at 6 kilometers. You're not really going to be, in my opinion, getting too close because the turrets are just too slow. You're going to be playing kind of a mid-range game, in my opinion. AA for this ship is pretty, it's okay. It's in between the Colorado and the Nagato. So you're going to be getting some alright AA shoot down ships. That's even with the AA mod. So if you aren't running that, you're going to be pretty low on AA. One of the upsides, though, is this is the first ship in the game that's a battleship to have defensive fire. So that's pretty cool. If you do spec this thing completely AA, you can get up to Iowa level AA and just absolutely shred planes. You could also grab one of the upgrades that gives you an increased duration of the AA. So it is definitely nice. It kept me alive against certain CVs and absolutely just shredded some planes, let's say helping out a friendly CV with shooting down fighters or something like that. It has a decent range. I think it goes out to the, what is it, 7.2 kilometers. So you're knocking out a couple planes. The strongest is going to be kind of its mid-range and whatnot, but it's a decent AA on this ship. Now, one thing that everyone was super excited about were the rockets on this ship, and they're there. They don't shoot very far, and you don't know if they're shooting. So even with AFT, it only goes out to 2.2 kilometers, and there's no distinction of the rockets actually going off. It just looks like normal AA. So I do hope Wargaming adds something like that in. I was hoping to see some cool fireworks going off or something to show that this was different AA than just normal AA, but it just looks all the same. So I was kind of bummed about that, on top of mediocre maneuverability and mediocre concealment at this tier. So good points, high health pool, guns hit really hard. Downside, it doesn't shoot very far. The turrets turn god-awfully slow, and it has alright AA. It's a pretty mediocre ship. So the rumor is this thing is going to be given away kind of like the Grafspay did, and let's say like a campaign style where you can just earn it. So this could potentially be a free ship. Right now, I don't think the ship is good enough to be sold as is. I think it does need some love. My thoughts on this ship is increase two things. One, it needs some love for the turret rotation. Now, this is the niche of the Royal Navy line of guns hit really hard, but they turn really slow. Then that's the niche of the line. That's going to really annoy me, though, because slow turrets are the death of you, because if you do want to push aggressively, you really can't. You have to pick one side. Your guns just don't turn quick enough, and if you're going to be turning your entire ship, it's almost like a stationary tank, if you've ever played World of Tanks, where your turret is only in the front and you got a couple degrees of movement. You can't really push aggressive, because if something is moving too quick, you can't turn quick enough to catch up with your turret. So one, it needs love for its turrets. It needs a bit of an increase. I'd like to see it maybe on the Colorado level of 45 seconds, but that is a massive increase, so I don't know if they'll quite do that. And then one or the other, I would like to see maybe a small increase on the gun reload time, maybe bump it down to 28 seconds, or increase the firing range. I spent a lot of time in this game, which made it very boring for me, of one, waiting for my turrets to get on target, and two, waiting to get in range of things. So I was getting outranged by the Kutuzov. That's not very fun. Either helping out with some turret rotation, it needs turret rotation, reload, it needs a bit of love there, or firing range. Maybe bump it up another kilometer to 18.6, and then just kind of help it out, because it has the shortest range of all Tier 7 battleships, so it can't have that many negatives, but it is relatively accurate, so I do enjoy that. But all in all, this ship I think is a really good starting spot for this ship. Wargaming released a pretty cool video of them building this ship, so that was pretty cool. If you guys haven't checked that out, and a lot of man hours go into these ships. I don't think people realize that, but I kind of hope they do tweak some of the values for the guns and really help the ship out. I had a good time playing this ship because it hits so hard, but some of the things that just stuck out is waiting for my turrets. I'm waiting for my turrets. I can't hit that. I can't shoot that far. So if they increase those, would I play the Hood over any of the other Tier 7 battleships? No, I wouldn't. It's just not good enough. But if they do tweak some things, I think this ship is going to be an alright ship, and would be definitely fun to play. Not only does it have an insane history, and I know a lot of people are really looking forward to this ship, I think it deserves a bit more love. So we'll see what they end up doing. We'll see if it's going to be a premium for sale, or if they will do a campaign for it, and people will be able to get it for free. But we'll just have to wait. All these stats are subject to change, guys, so just keep that in mind, and I'll post any other videos on when they do change some of these stats. But that is it for me, guys. That is the HMS Hood so far, a bit of a preview on it, and I'm looking forward to this ship, and I hope you guys are as well. But that is it for me, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.